Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oliver Cownie as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
The back they run, 4:50 to go. Minstrel leads by 2 metres. Swayze on the outside is trying his heart out. Otis is over on the inside. Mister Smartee pulls out 3 wide, but the leaders are absolutely flying again. 28-4. Then Mighty Ronaldo. Catch a Wave looks too far back around the turn. Roberts goes for Minstrel. Otis tries to get clear. Mister Smartee. Swayze struggling in the centre. Minstrel in front. Here's Mister Smartee down the outside. It's Mister Smartee racing up to Minstrel. Takes the lead. Down the outside is He's a Sport late. Swayze comes back as well, but Mister Smartee too good. Mister Smartee has won. He's a Sport ran a
That's a very good morning, everybody. Welcome along to another edition of Often Pacing this Monday morning. That there was the concluding stages of the 2025 Tab Touch Nullabor, and a WA one at that, with Mister Smartee for Gary Hall Senior and Stephen Waters in that slot, as well as Gary Hall Senior, the trainer, and Gary Hall Junior, the driver, taking out the 2025 edition of the feature. And there's so much to unpack from what was a terrific night down here at Gloucester Park, and so much to look forward to still with the running of the Retrovision Fremantle Cup this Friday night. Justin Prentice is going to be a special guest with us this morning. We'll get the very latest on Mighty Ronaldo in the build-up to Friday's Retrovision Fremantle Cup, where he's a previous winner. And we've got our 2 experts standing by to unpack everything and also see if there's a winner to take us through to Friday night between today's meeting at Pinjarra and then also an eye towards tomorrow night right here at Gloucester Park. Ollie Cownie, to you first and foremost. Good morning.
Morning, Tim. We might be able to ask Justin later how far Mighty Ronaldo would have won by if he'd got a clear run there on Friday.
Oh, I tell you what, I was hoping that after having something small on him, certainly on the place basis, I was hoping that run was coming, but not to be. But I don't think anyone would begrudge him getting his moment to shine this Friday night if it came around. Matt Young, good morning to you.
I don't know why we needed to start things on such a sour note. I was looking to try and have a good start to the week, but anyway, good morning to you guys. And I don't really want to dissect the Nullabor again. I'm not 100% sure whether Mighty Ronaldo would have won if he got into the clear, but I don't think he would have finished any further back than second. It would have been interesting to see if he got in the clear and the way he hit the line, and the way Mister Smartee would have responded, because he's a very good horse and he would have been hard to get past, but I think Mighty Ronaldo would have been running a place.
Oh, he was unlucky. He was unlucky. Well, Matt, unfortunately, with a $1.25 million race that is the richest in WA, we have to review it. So we spoke to Junior a little earlier on. We had Senior on the aftermath yesterday. It was a coming-of-age moment for Mister Smartee on Friday night. It felt that way anyway, Matt.
Yeah, no, I was very, vocal about, not against the horse. I was more vocal against the map of him being 1-1, which in any race is a good position. But with Swayze in the breeze running the sections that he was going to run, I was very concerned about how Mister Smartee would be able to handle that, being one off the pegs and chasing. It's not easy to do. I don't think there's any other horse in the race that would have been able to sit in that position and still stick on like he did. And even with a lap to go, when they dropped that high 27 quarter, Junior was stoking him up and he was under a lot of pressure, but he just kept lifting and responding. And for a horse who just broken through the $1 million barrier and he's only had low 20 starts in his career, he's a serious animal, Mister Smartee, and it was very much a coming-of-age moment, and it was one where he got all the respect from me. I just thought, gee, that was a gutsy win. To be able to do that against that sort of field, he's a serious animal, and he's going to do some really amazing things over the next few years.
Is that how you felt as well, Ollie?
Oh, certainly, yeah. He was a very deserving winner, and he was the best horse in the end. He sat with speed, as Matt mentioned, and he just proved too good late, and it was a terrific win. All the talk leading into the race was Minstrel versus Swayze, and gee, that was a fantastic battle in itself. They went at each other from a long way and really just set the race up beautifully. It was a 154 4 mile for the 2500, which is really fast time. And Mister Smartee was able to absorb all that pressure in the 1-1, and he was just too fast in the end. Gary Hall Jr., he drove it beautifully. He waited and he waited and he waited, and he pulled out just at the right time and was too good. It's funny, you look at the race and you think about who the two most accomplished drivers in the race are, and you'd have to say Gary Hall Jr. and Luke McCarthy, and they've run the Quinella there, and it was a pretty long price Quinella with G. Sport really returning to form there after maybe what was a little bit of a disappointing run the start prior. It was fantastic there on Friday.
And we touched on that on Friday morning, Matt, that there was a lot of confidence around G. Sport, and he wasn't going to be turning up there in the Nullabor just to make up numbers, even with what we saw first up. And I think what we saw from him on Friday night suggests that he's going to be a big player in these free-for-all races for, well, as soon as this week in the Fremantle Cup, and then certainly for the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, you would imagine that with a horse like him, and with a lot of the good horses that come through the system, when they reach free-for-all, it might take a couple of races for them to adjust, and they normally elevate again once they get a bit more comfortable. We've seen that recently with Otis, who he was, and I think Wave Rider will probably fall into that category too, of horses that are sort of not winning that middle range grade. Not that GE Sport wasn't in that category, he was winning all those races, but once they get comfortable in free-for-all, you see them sort of go to another level, and Otis has definitely done that. And I think to see GE Sport sort of first up off of a disappointing run when finishing down the track and then coming into a Nullabor, and to hit the line as strongly as he did, I think he's going to elevate so well in a free-for-all grade, and we're going to see him as a major contender going forward. So I think whatever he did on Friday night, he's going to improve off of that immensely going forward, and whether that can be for a Fremantle Cup win this Friday night is to be seen, but yeah, I think he's a serious horse going forward.
And the expectation is that Luke McCarthy is a very good chance to come back and drive again this Friday night in the Retrovision Fremantle Cup. So that's a big tick of approval for what G. Sport was able to do on Friday night just gone. Just a little bit of a wash-up on the rest of these. So expect the first 5 across the line all to be there again this week. I can tell you that Just Call Me Mickey is off to the paddock, and that is reflected on the harness side as well. Catch a Wave. There was just a little bit of doubt, speaking to Andy Gath yesterday on Friday night, as to whether he would run again this Friday night, but speaking to him yesterday is that Catch a Wave is all good to go and defend his Retrovision Fremantle Cup title this week. So that's good news for this week's feature. And with that being said, pre-barrier draw, gents, what's a Fremantle Cup tip? Ollie, you first.
Oh, well, I just can't look past Mighty Ronaldo there. He was so good on Friday. If he draws to get a soft run again, I think he'll be really, really hard to hold out late. I certainly think Swayze lost no admirers there on Friday. He was massive. He didn't run a place, but he was only beaten 2.8 metres, and he was tightened in the concluding stages by Minstrel, who hung out a little bit under pressure. So there was plenty of merit to that run, and he's going to really thrive on that 2,900 metre journey. He's a fantastic stayer. So I really think, for me, they're the two I'll be having something on.
What about you, Matt?
Look, I'm in Minstrel's corner. I think he went into that run 5 weeks between runs, and you can do all the track work behind the scenes, but there's no substitute for race fitness. So I think what he did on Friday was really good, and going into this Friday's race, I think he'll be a lot better for that run. So, yeah, I'm pretty keen that Minstrel could potentially turn the tables on all the rivals.
All right, well, let's get into the balance of Friday night's meeting and get some horses to follow. And Matt, you can lead us off. Sure
thing. We've got, from Friday, I thought 3 to put into the Black Book. Firstly, Fly to the Finish. I think this horse has been racing really well in the country scene, and then loved what I saw on Friday night. It's ready to win a race. The good thing is we can see him drop back to country grade, and he's going to be hard to beat wherever he goes. But I think he's just strengthening up nicely in his preparation, and he's ready to win. So Fly to the Finish goes into the Black Book. I thought Como El Viento was really good. He was millions when I looked at the field for what he had shown this preparation. This is a horse who's showed a lot of promise as a 2-year-old, but just hadn't really reflected that yet as a 3-year-old. But from barrier 9, the way he hit the line, I thought he was really eye-catching come El Viento, and it was sort of something near what we had seen from him as a late 2-year-old, early 2-year-old. So I think he's one to follow, and I thought Spyglass was really good too, to come from back in the field from the position that he did against the field that he did over the longer trip, and just the way he hit the line. I think there's a lot of upside for Spyglass going forward. So Flight of the Finish, Come El Viento, and Spyglass are my 3 to follow.
Spyglass was one on your agenda as well, Ollie.
Yeah, it certainly was. I thought he was fantastic there on Friday. He really looked to be charging in behind them, and if you watch him run through the line, he was bolting. So he looks a really nice horse. He's just met every hurdle he's come at and jumped right over it. So I think he's a really nice horse, and this next grade up, which he's just landed in, I think he'll be really hard to beat in some of those bigger races. He's got very high speed, which is really vital in those big races. Another horse I had down to follow was out of race 4, Our Vinny. I thought he was terrific. He hit the line really strongly. He did have a very soft run throughout, but he seems to have really turned a corner his last couple of runs, Our Vinny, and there looks to be a suitable race for him soon. They went 155 there with Longreach Bay. Another impressive win for him, so I certainly think the form out of that race will be strong enough. And the last horse I had to follow was out of the 8th race. I thought it was an interesting race, this one. There were a few in behind that were held up and didn't have clear runs, and one of those horses was Alfredi. He seems to be going really well at the moment, and he got a really good run there on Friday. He was leaders back, but yeah, he just looked to be travelling really well. He's got great gate speed, and I certainly think he can win a race very soon, maybe when he draws the lead.
All right, so it's Flight of the Finish, Como, El Viento and Spyglass for Matt. Ollie going with that horse as well, Spyglass, as well as Alvini and Alfredi. Let's get to Pinjarra today. And Matt, you're going to play nice and early for a couple of your best bets.
Yeah, we'll go into the early part of the program here and move into race number 2 firstly, and that is with Ice Cold Sapporo, who I thought was really good first up, made the move around to the breeze, but look, he's still inexperienced, and he's probably going to have a similar sort of issue, I guess, today, where the race settles and he'll work around and get to a forward position. But yeah, look, I like Ice Cold Support. I thought he's a better price. You've got an understanding of where he's at after his last run. I thought last run was really good. The times were fantastic, and he was just sort of burnt off a little bit in that 27 and change down the back, and then found again up the straight, and he just didn't give up. So I think he would derive benefit from that, and he'll be better for the experience, and I think it'll be very hard to beat. So race 2, number 9, Ice Cold Sapporo, number 10 actually, I think he is.
Yep.
So race 2, number 10. Race 3, I thought an each way play in race number 3 was Recover Lover. I thought it was a really good chance to be able to work across and find the top. This horse has been successful at the trip and finally gets a good draw to be able to show her best. And I think her last couple of runs, she's been a little bit unlucky. So I'm expecting Recover Lover to run better here and be able to lead early, and it has got a few decisions to make. But with that early speed, it's going to definitely play a part and of the rest of the field. Race number 7, I'm going with Tartan Robin each way. I think he's a really good 2x3 sort of play, or 2x4, 2x5. I think he could potentially lead. He's around the $7 quote. Star Casino has got to give him 30 metres, which I'm not saying he can't do, because Star Casino is racing in really good form. But I just thought Tartan Robin has been knocking on the door closer to victory and gets a good each-way chance in at race number 7. So race 2, Ice Cold Sapporo to win. Race 3, I'm going with Recover Lover each way. And race 7, number 2, Tartan Robin are my 3 today.
And, of course, Cabernet was your best earlier on the Sports Daily for those that missed it. Now, Ollie, how are you looking to play Pinjarra today?
Yeah, I was keen on one in race 6, Better Move Along, on a place more so basis. He certainly wasn't a back me next time run on Friday, but he was just so far off the leaders there, and Aragon Rock won that race, and I think it was a fairly strong race. So he was out the back. He just couldn't quite get into it. he took on Just Call Me Mickey, who was obviously in the Nullabor there on Friday, start prior. So they look really, really strong races. I think the winner will probably come from Ultra Tribute or Madam Publisher, but the race for third really looks quite open there. And I think the good version of Better Move Along will be really, really hard to hold out of those placings. And he seems to like racing at Pinjarra. His last run at Pinjarra was really good there behind Longreach Bay. So I think that looks good enough form for a race like this. And he's a big enough price to place to get involved there, I think. The next one I had for us to have something on was in race 8. I thought this looked a really open race, and there's plenty on the front row that like to go forward in the early stages. So it really could set it up quite nicely for something to run on from out the back, and I'm hoping that can be Roadstar. Last start, he didn't go great there, but it was a strong race, so he was behind Belly Up there, and I certainly think the effort had a lot more merit than the 40-metre margin suggested, and his run prior to that was actually really good. He did a bit of work early. He made a mid-race move, and he wasn't beaten far by Captain Said So, who I think is quite a nice horse. So I think Roadstar in the 8th race can be a really good 1x3 type angle for us. And then in the last, in the lightning lap to finish us off, I thought the Freelancer drew a really good gate here. On his day, he has really, really good gate speed. As Matt mentioned on the preview, he can mix that a little bit. So he doesn't get out as well some days, but if he gets out his best, then I think he can lead and prove really hard to beat there. And if he doesn't lead, I think he can probably end up on the leader's back. Maybe Cole and Matt might cross in the early stages. But either way, happy to be with the Freelancer in the last. All right, so that is Better Move Along, Roadstar and the Freelancer for Ollie. And we'll keep you rolling, Ollie, because you're playing the opener tomorrow night as we turn our attention to Gloucester Park. Yeah, Give Me Joy was first up last start and certainly looked to have its chance there and just found one better in Bunjil Man in that race. But they did still run home 28-4. So I think has good gate speed. She should be able to lead pretty easily in this race. And if she's able to lead and control things, I think she can probably just zip home too well over the 1,700-metre journey. It might be more suitable than that 2,100-metre trip last start and will have benefited from that first-up effort. So happy to give her one more chance there. And then in race 4, Medieval Man was a winner there on Friday and a very impressive winner too. Sat without cover outside King Seat, who's a nice enough horse in his own right, and Medieval Man was just too good there, proved too strong, and I think he can do the exact same thing on Tuesday again and look to beat the handicapper. I think Major Overs might be the leader, and Medieval Man will just be too strong late. All right, so that is tomorrow night for Ollie. Go Give Me Joy and Medieval Man. Now, Matt, what about you? You're also going to the 4th?
Yeah, I'm going Coolbard and Navajo in that race. I fully respect what Ollie's saying about Medieval Man. He's in really good form. I'm really excited to see how Coolbard and Navajo is going to go, coming to sort of city company on a Tuesday, I guess, Gloucester Park. She's shown in the past that she's got really good speed, high speed, and she just reminds me a little bit of Nullabor Navajo in the early days. So I think Coolbard and Navajo can run a really good race first up. So I'm happy to be with her in what I think will be a pretty competitive sort of event. And then I can nearly take myself and put myself in the sin bin for wanting to tip this horse, but I've just got that feeling that it could be the night for Grand Majestic Bells. So it's a wild selection because she continues to gallop, but she's got a little bit tightened for room last start, and I thought she didn't really have a great deal of luck. But prior to that, she trotted really well. She travelled really well. And it's hard. I've given her a pass mark for galloping because she was just running into a little bit of tightness. And I think Nigel will want to keep her more in the open air tomorrow. I really like Grand Majestic Bells, and I think she's just dead set a straight out bet because she either trots and wins or she doesn't trot. So, but yeah, that's the way I looked at it, and I wanted to be able to put out some confidence about her chances. And I think if she does everything right, I think she can win this race. She gets in pretty well. So off the 30 metres and with Grand Majestic Bells in the last, and hopefully it's off the back of a victory by the Coolati Navajo Medieval Man, because then it makes us look clever.
Matt, I'll give you all the very best of luck and give Grand Majestic Bells strength. Hopefully that is the case tomorrow night. Hey, we'll let you go. You're Pinjarra today, Racing WA Harness X page for all of the interviews.
Yeah, I'll be there. So cheers for that, and good luck and good punting.
All the very best. And Ollie, you too. We look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Tim.
There is Ollie Cownie and Matt Young. Short break, Justin Prentice next.
They are Often Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Great to have your company and great to get a few minutes as well with our next guest, Justin Prentice, who is with us on the line. Justin, good morning to you.
Morning, mate.
We know you're on the clock today, so we won't keep you too long. Hey, just very quickly, a reflection on Friday night. Mighty Ronaldo, who was a game in the Nullabor. He's right in the zone. Just that little bit of luck. If he can get it, can he be a Fremantle Cup winner perhaps this Friday night?
Yeah, it'd be nice, Tim. Obviously, the way he's driven best, he relies on that bit of luck, and unfortunately we didn't get it on Friday, but couldn't have been happier with his run. He went super. Will was extremely happy with him, and we know he runs the 2900, so looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, so he should be. You're confident that he's going as well as he can be, and his form over the last 6 to 8 weeks, he's right in the zone and knocking on the door for a big one.
Yeah, he is. He's look, I think that's his third time in the Nullabor, and that's his best run. And he's ran two. He's won a Fremantle Cup and ran an unlucky fourth in the next one. So you would say he's probably going into this one as good as he's ever been, and he's going to rely on a good barrier draw and the right run again. But we know the distance is not a problem, and with Swayze in the race, it's going to be a genuinely run race, which suits him perfectly.
He was so very good in it last year. Running fourth was Mighty Ronaldo. All right, now let's turn our attention to today. We know that it's a busy couple of days ahead. You've got Poppy on the beach and Ruby Lavera. So let's go with market order here if we can. Ruby Lavera, so how did you assess the first up run a couple of weeks ago at Bunbury?
Yeah, we're really happy with that run. We thought the other filly would be really hard to beat with the draws, and Junior just sort of stuck with Ruby Lavera's. We're both going on holiday, so Trent will end up driving both of them in the diamond heats. But we just wanted Trent to have a feel of the other girl. She's not the easiest horse to drive, so probably be hard to turn the tables again. But Ruby Lavera's working extremely well. She probably just needs the right run to be able to get over the other filly.
How does it look then from your opinion there with Poppy on the beach? Got the draw advantage? Maintain that at all costs?
Yeah, I think Trent said he didn't really have much say on coming out the gate or not last week. She sort of charged out the gate, so I'd say he'd probably do the same thing this week and look to try and get to the front, and hopefully he can sort of rate her from there, and she can be hard to beat again. All
right, so that is Poppy on the beach and also Ruby Lavera today down there at Pinjarra, a couple of live chances, and then to tomorrow night as well, where you've got Elite Fleet going around. So what did you make of the last start? It was justified the short quote. What did you make of the way that Elite Fleet went about it?
Yeah, he went okay. He just sort of switched off a bit when he hit the front. We were sort of surprised, like, the start before, Junior thought he was under a huge amount of pressure, and thought he wasn't really even a winning hope at the 400, and then turning for home, he just sort of dropped into another gear and put him away pretty comfortably. So he sort of thought he expected him to do that again, and he's kind of just sort of really knocked off when he hit the front. But he's just still so very green. He had 12 months off where he just wasn't mentally or physically strong enough to be a racehorse. So we just threw him out for 12 months and hoped that he'd come back and strengthen up, and he has. But he's still obviously learning what it's all about. And again, he's drawn tricky, but his work at home is good enough. And if he keeps improving with each run, then he should be hard to beat in that.
Have you got hopes that he can get to some nice races at the back end of the year?
not at this stage.
Yep.
We're just happy to see that he's actually got to the races.
Yep.
He went to trials and got beat a long way, only just qualified sort of 12 months ago. So he's come a hell of a long way. And you'd hope that, if he improves again that much in sort of 6 to 12 months again, then we will have a nice horse. But, he's just got to sort of put it all together and strengthen up a bit, like I said, physically and mentally. But, we're really impressed. We thought he had every right to give it away first up, and he didn't. He dug deep and got the job done. So, hopefully he can do that tomorrow night.
All right. Now, just one more before we do let you go. So, Tricky Mickey was in the rankings last week, 9th in the rankings for the Fremantle Cup this week. Obviously, we saw him on Friday night. What did you make of both him and El Chema?
Yeah, both of them went well. We're really happy with Tricky Mickey. Trent drove him great, summed up the race well, and, I sort of didn't get out until late. Which that's not really his style. Like, he's not real point-to-point speed horse. He takes a bit to wind up. And Trent was super happy with how well he hit the line. And El Chema probably ended up being about the worst draw he could have got. He ended up, drawn 2 and ended up near last and sort of just never really made up ground, never lost ground. So I've got him nominated sort of for a consolation on Friday. Probably better over the shorter trip, but he's going well enough that we'll probably send him around.
All right. We know you're busy, Justin. Thanks for your time this morning. Good luck, and hopefully you get a couple of favours with the draw tomorrow.
Nice. Thanks, Tim.
There is Justin Prentice rounding out our Often Pacing show for this morning. Appreciate Justin giving us some time. We know it's a busy morning, obviously a busy afternoon on the way with the 2 fillies down there at Pinjarra. Good luck if you are going to be having a bet down there today. Hopefully Matt and Ollie have been able to steer you in the right direction, and there is a winner or two down there for you. And of course, tomorrow night, before we turn our attention to the Retrovision Fremantle Cup this Friday night, it's all on again after a magnificent Nullabor. If you missed the show, you can jump on the podcast, tabradio.com.au, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Not only the Sports Daily, but Often Pacing this morning.